Tea time, yeah. Making a difference, one cup at a time. Tea time, yeah. This is tea time, yeah. Making a difference, one cup at a time. Tea time, yeah. So be sure to grab your tea, grab a seat, and tune in to Miss Liz. Tea time, making a difference, one cup at a time. Tea time, yeah. Tea time, time.
Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. We are here and it is tea time again. That's right, tea time with Miss Liz. So this morning I am local. I have a local a member, a lady, a friend, all of that good stuff. And Miss Liz's tongue is already not enough tea in me this morning yet. So before we get started, we're going to do the disclaimer. We're going to do the little intro into the incredible Chantal Gilmour. That's right. She is an amazing lady who has created a nonprofit to keep Cornwall warm, which is called Warm Up Cornwall. So we are going to get right into that in a little bit, and we're going to get to learn what her tea is this morning as she serves us a good, strong TEA. So before we get that, let's get into the disclaimer. Let's get into the bios. Let's get into all that good stuff. And grab your tea, grab your coffee, grab your choice of beverage. You do not have to drink tea with Miss Liz. So let's get started. Disclaimer for Miss Liz's Tea Time live show. Miss Liz, myself, is going live using StreamYard. Before leaving a comment, please grant StreamYard permission to see your name at StreamYard.com. Please be advised the content brought forward for any Tea Time show hosted by myself, Miss Liz, is always brought forward in good faith. However, may bring forth dialogue and opinions that are not representative of my platform. The facts and information are perceived to be accurate at the given time of airing. All Tea Time guests and audience participants are responsible for using their good judgment in taking any action that may relate to the discussion. The content brought forward may include discussion for some where they may be emotionally at risk. It is significant to know that this show is engaging in discussion forums only to offer and inspire awareness and connection and is not providing therapeutical advice. If you have any questions about the disclaimer or the panelist discussion, you may freely contact Miss Liz, myself, through my email at bookingmissliz@gmail.com. Moving forward, should you choose to voluntarily participate in today's show in any aspect, I myself, Miss Liz, welcomes you. Should you decide that this show is not made for you at this time, I respect that wish and I will see you at a later date at a later show in time in the future. And remember, this year, tea times are all on Thursday. If we have a tea time that's not on Thursday, it is a rescheduled tea time. So make sure to check out Thursdays. Thursdays are 3 shows, morning, afternoon, and evening. So let's get into Chantal, the incredible woman who I have here. I got to meet Chantal a couple years ago when I first moved to Cornwall, and she's an amazing young lady. So Chantal is also known as the Crazy Knitter. She started knitting as a hobby 24 years ago while on maternity leave with her second child. After a car accident rendered her bedridden, she took up knitting to keep herself sane, and a crazy knitter was born. Now she spends her days in Cornwall, Ontario, knitting for others. If she is not selling items at live events or online from her SSE shop and website, she is driving while with the husband is driving and she is knitting around SDNG. picking up handmade items made by her little army of crafters to deliver these items where they are needed. She is all about knitting. If she sits, she knits. In her spare time from making Cornwall an area is warm, she takes many classes at Tri-County Literacy Council, or her nose is in a book because she believes in continuously learning. After the car accident rendered her bedridden for 2 years, her passion for knitting was born. One, Once the pile grew more than she could sell, this happened. She, with the help of her husband, started Warm Up Cornwall. After a Christmas parade where they ran into a family with a mom about to leave because the children did not grab their winter gear, and they gave them some new stuff. They had just purchased scarves and hats, were always plentiful as she made them at the time for their children, so the kids would not miss out on the parade. For Chantal's full bio, you can check out Miss Liz's Facebook page. It is all there. All the goodies are there. And we're going to talk about some of those goodies as she jumps in. And we get to serve a good, strong tea this morning. So I'm going to get Chantal in the studio with me. And I'm going to stop rambling. I'm going to grab a sip of tea. Good morning, Chantal.
Good morning.
So I'm going to let you speak a little bit on how Warm Up Cornwall started, what year it started, and all that good stuff. And then I'm just going to take a sip of tea and we're going to serve some more tea.
All right. This is our 10-year anniversary. We started, actually, it's 11 now. We started in winter 2023. We started in 2002.
Oh, my goodness, right?
Or 2012, sorry.
All those numbers, right?
I've been knitting since 2002, but that's beside the point. I started knitting in 1998.
1998.
So I was on maternity leave. My second child was born in March, so I started around the end of 98, early 99. So been knitting since then. Still don't know any of the fancy stuff, but
right. That fancy stuff is hard to learn.
Yes. I don't use two colors. If I use two colors, they're separate. They're not together. They're not that Tunisian fancy stuff. I don't do that. You get plain, but you get warm here.
Well, and that's the point, right? Is keeping us warm, especially with these cold temperatures that we're getting this year. We really need those warm mitts, right?
I don't make mitts, but my army of knitter does keep Warm Up Cornwall stacked with mittens, luckily.
So, Chantal, what got you into, like, after the parade, what got you into putting them into bags and leaving the notes and all of that?
Well, not too long after the parade, I was on Facebook and I ran into a post about somebody in Ottawa wrapping the scarves around the statues in Ottawa. And I thought to myself, wow, we can do that here. Yes, I can do that. I got scarves coming out I got piles of scarves. I said, I can get rid of them that way. Yes. So I started tying them around different places because we don't have that many statues in Cornwall. So I started, my biggest thing was the cone at Dairy Queen. When you drive in, you see the cone at telling you enter. So I tied one around there, and I tied them around bus stops, poles. And when we realized that way was not wasting, but after a snowfall, they'd get wet. So we'd go and pick them. Anything that wasn't picked up, we'd go grab them, bring them home, wash them, throw them in the dryer, and then tie them back out. Then I saw somebody else doing something similar, but she had everything set in a bag. Mm-hmm. So it's like, okay, that's a genius move. Thank you very much, Facebook, for another idea. So went out, bought some bags, bought the mittens I couldn't make, and I put the hat and the scarf in, and then I tied the bags around the town. And then I'd stop and leave them at all the bus stops and all the bus kiosks, like the covered bus stops. So that way, if somebody had to rush out to work one morning and didn't realize how cold it was, or they don't have one, the set was sitting there waiting for them.
Well, and it's always nice, right? Because a lot of people will say, oh, well, I'm just scooting out and, I'm not going to be out a long time. But sometimes things happen. The bus is late. You know,
And
a storm hits us out of surprise, so we only have like a little jacket on, and a little, and a lot of people don't grab scarves and mitts, and that really does make a
we
difference.
adults don't think we need those things.
No, we're too big. We
We're,
don't need that.
we're,
We're big
we're tough.
people, right?
We're Canadian. We can handle the cold. No, we can't.
Right? Like, hold our Timmy, let's go.
I'm just going to Timmy's. I don't need my scarf. And it's like halfway, and it's like, I needed a scarf.
Noticed that we needed more of
Well,
it.
the more I would do it, because I was getting excited doing this, like, because you would drive one night knowing there was a cold day coming the next day. We'd drive at night. We'd do all the bus stops at night around 10, 11 o'clock at night. And by the next morning or the next day, when we go out and do our errands or something, you'd see the sets gone. So we were like, oh, somebody's using our stuff. Oh, somebody's using our stuff. And then we started leaving them on parking meters when we had those downtown Cornwall. I'd put them in between the two things so people would grab them from there. And then I would tag the store that it was in front of. Hey, if you need this set, it's in front of Kings and Little Ones. And then I would tag them, and then they went to go take a picture, but then happened to catch somebody taking the set.
Oh.
So they, in turn, messaged me, says the set in front of me is gone.
Wow.
So it's like, okay. And the person had a smile on their face. And it's like, oh, okay, I'm doing something right here. This feels good. So the next night I went out and I put another set in front of Kings and Little Ones, just so I knew that means that area is an area where people will see it, people will need it, that need it will see it and know it's there. So it just took off from there. After 2 winters of doing it, the Red Cross was getting rid of their knitting project that had been going since World War II, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, wow.
Was no longer in the budget. So they found me through an acquaintance and asked if I wanted to take over this little knitting project. And it's like, sure, no problem. They gave me a room full of yarn, which I was lucky enough to be able to store at Chorus Radio at the time. That let's call this the monster took off from there. We had pieces that were ready to go, so it was easier for me to put out more pieces. And then I got the list of all the schools, of all 4 school boards, of all of SDNG. So we delivered to as far as Embrum and as far as Vankleek Hill. No, not Vankleek Hill. Right before Vankleek Hill. Wagon Public School.
Okay, yeah.
So that's the furthest that way. And then we got Embrum on the other side. And so that's my biggest project. Is every winter I call the schools, ask them if they need hats and mitts. It used to be hats and mitts, but the hats are not as needed anymore. It's all mittens, because most of the secretaries will keep a stash of them in the office. So if the kids come to school with no mittens, the secretary will give them a pair, use them for the recess, and then they bring them back at the end of the day. They wash them and they're ready for the next person the next day.
Well, that's good. And a lot of schools need that, because sometimes, again, we're rushing and in the morning and we forget our mittens, our hats and all that. But yeah, I can see why the hats were taken out, because a lot of people don't wear hats. Us Canadians are a little stubborn, right?
For some reason, hats are less lost. Like for children, we lose mittens. We don't lose hats. The hat you put on and it's there, where the mittens you take off to play with your phone, or like there's reasons to take off the mittens. And for some reason, the mittens, children go through mittens like crazy. Like, I mean, my 3 are grown up now, but I used to go through dozens every winter.
Yeah. Yeah, I always had like a big stack of pile. Yeah. Like, okay, you lost those ones. Okay, to grab the next one, You know, especially coming from a northern town. Like I'm not from Cornwall, I'm from her. So the cold up there is the northern cold, right? So we have a different
Oh,
cold than what we have here
yeah,
now. Like I'm still getting used to the cold over here because it's like a wet in your
yeah,
skin, like in your bone cold. Where up north it was like the instant ice cold, like
yeah.
you know. You go on,
I
your eyes are
visited
like
up there at Christmas time one year. I went up to my family's from Cochrane,
oh, okay.
so we went visiting one year at Christmas time, and yes, I know exactly what you mean. The difference between the colds. It's like here, it's like it takes you a few minutes to realize, oh shoot, I'm cold. I forgot my hat.
Yeah.
Where in that
Over
end,
there, you better have your
you
hat.
know right away. Like you step out the door, and it's like, oh, I forgot my hat.
It's like instant frost, right? Your eyes are like,
Yeah, Jack Frost at your nose, like seconds.
yeah. I used to wrap my kids up like mummies. They used to be, Mom. I'd be like, no, wrap that scarf around your head, wrap it around your throat. Like I'm telling you, it's cold.
It's gonna be cold.
So Chantal, I want to get into we're going to get into your tea and your favorite colors and words and all that. So if I ask you what your tea is this morning, what tea are you serving to everyone?
I'm serving thankful, empowered adventure.
And do you want to share a little bit on those words?
Well, I serve thankfulness because I'm thankful for knowing how to knit. It kept me out of a dark place after getting bedridden, so I'm very thankful for my knitting. I'm very thankful for the Red Cross reaching out and giving me purpose. And I seem to have noticed, especially during COVID, that I seem to empower my knitters. When you're stuck alone, like most of my knitters right now are senior ladies. So they were stuck alone in their house. And I was one of very few people that they would see. Yes, I was masked the whole time. We cut down the during COVID, but there were a few that were knitting more. So I kept them loaded in their yarn. But you can tell that as I was telling my hubby about a month ago, I seem to be Meals on Wheels, but with yarn. I'm a check-in. They get to talk to somebody that's not the same person all the time. Like, so
Yeah.
I seem to have noticed about the last month or so that I seem to empower my knitters. I give them a purpose. And me giving them a purpose gives me a purpose to keep going. And adventure is, I never have the same day twice. You never see the same knitters 2 days in a row. So it's always an adventure. You never know which the day will bring you. I don't know if I'm going to wake up one morning to 10 emails saying, I want to knit for you. So it's an adventure, and I'm loving every day of it.
Well, and that's truly you. See, I told you get your tea. And this is what it is, right? All the guests serve different teas. It doesn't need to be the same. And we really start serving others when we find our purpose in life. You know, when we find our purpose, other people find their purpose. And it's like you said, we empower one another, right?
Mm-hmm.
If it hadn't been for you to start it, maybe that person that you have met that's knitting for you now would have never met you, you know, had you not started this project. And how did it turn into a nonprofit, Chantal?
Well, officially, it's not even a nonprofit. It's out of my pocket.
I so know that. So that's where that nonprofit comes in. You don't get no profit.
Yeah, no profits. The nonprofit, basically, I named it Warm Up Cornwall and treat it as a nonprofit, because if people do donate money, like once a year I go to the farmers market with the kinsmen, just to spread the word of what we're doing. And I have yarn in case a knitter wants to join, and I have the pieces and I tell them where they go, like hats and mitts go to the schools. I have some baby stuff that'll be dropping off at the hospital soon. So stuff like that. So I have it all on the table, and then I'm selling some of the stuff that I make. I don't sell anything that is made by my other knitters. I only sell what I make. My biggest sells are dishcloths and slippers. They're quick to make and they're fairly affordable. So I would sell, and people would go, "Oh, I love what you're doing. Here's, $10." So I would then turn around, take that, and continue doing what I'm doing. I either buy the yarn or fill a car with gas, because we're driving around SDNG so much lately that with COVID, I couldn't have drop-off areas. So we started driving. Like, hopefully now that we're reopening and some drop-off areas are stepping up again. So I won't drive around as much, but we have teamed up with the Agape Center that you can drop off the wool at Agape, and then I go pick it up when I'm in that end of town. We've teamed up with Celine Edie Real Estate lately that she donated.
Awesome.
She donated some funds, her and her niece. I forget her niece's name, but she owns Johnston's Antiques.
Oh, awesome. I love that you're joining all of these places, because you're also bringing awareness to their businesses as well. And that's what we need to do, right? Local is share local and express local, and like you said, little kings, like, right? If you shop local and you be local, like, you also make a difference, right? Like, Teatime is global, but I also support all of the local people as well, all of the businesses and that. And, Chantal, if it's not for people like yourself, how do we get the local stores known, right? By not, because people don't always know, but they watch us and they say, "Oh, well, where's that store? Where's that shop? How did they find that shop?" Right? I'm always doing that too. I'm finding something new and I'm like, "Oh, when did that open?" Like, so I want to talk about local, supporting local. So for all the viewers and listeners out there, I really want to get this message out there. It's a really strong message this morning. So what has providing local services to other businesses done for you, Chantal?
Oh, you got me there. So you want to know what? Well, Life's Little Pleasures. She's a drop off for me. And she just moved down the street from where she was originally. So she's always been a huge Warm Up Cornwall supporter.
Yeah, she does support a lot of people.
Yes.
A lot of locals. Because when you go into her shop, she has like little soaps and there's another nonprofit in Cornwall that does the soap bars and all that as well.
One of my favorite local shops would have to be Bath Intentions.
Oh, where's that?
Oh, she just opened on Boundary Road.
Oh, okay.
Her name is Dinah. She's amazing. She started off making bath bombs and shower steamers to help her daughter get through cancer treatment.
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm a huge supporter. I was lucky enough to meet Alea, and she was a sweetheart.
Yeah.
So I still support Dinah, not as much as I'd want to, because I don't have time for baths anymore.
You're too busy knitting.
Yeah, exactly. We have come to the conclusion, me and my children, that I can knit dishcloths in the tub because cotton will absorb the water, but then everybody's going to just get dishcloths that smell like my bath bombs. So
yeah,
not everybody likes those things scents.
Well, for me, I have to watch because of the coconut, because I'm deadly allergic to coconut.
Oh, there we go. I don't think she uses coconut. You can check her.
Yeah. No, I've gotten a couple bath bombs from her because some products she doesn't use the coconut in it. So, yeah, she's an amazing lady. I got to meet her back when I was doing jamming for hospice with Patty. So yeah, she was one of the vendors that time. And you were there as well. You were one of the vendors for that event. Yes, so you do a lot of events as well, don't you, Chantal?
Yes, I'm trying very hard to be a vendor at the Kinsman Farmers Market this year, if it's in the budget. So that way I can have a guaranteed selling. I go to the farmer's market on Sundays, and then I'll have a budget for the week. In the summertime, I don't need as much funding, but I still need to buy yarn and stuff because my knitters knit all year round. They seem to knit more in the summer. I don't know why, but I knit the bigger things in the winter and the smaller things in the summer.
Yeah, I don't know.
So
I like to knit and crochet in the summertime too. I don't know about the wintertime. I don't know. I just don't. It's not my cup of tea.
in the winter, it's more of you use the blanket,
right,
to read, or
yeah,
just stay cozy. So that's why I knit the bigger blankets in the winter, so I'm cozy while making them.
So I was asking you the question about the locals and the importance of it, and what you're sharing, Chantal, is building new relationships, right? Getting
Yes.
to know these people on a first name basis. When we go into local shops, sometimes it's nice just to ask the owner, like, how's your day going? Like, how can I help your business? Because they need help too, right? They're
Yeah.
all small businesses and they need that awareness as well. So, and you've made some really incredible connections in that. But you do a lot of volunteer in the local area as well. So, what does that give you when you volunteer?
Well, I used to volunteer for the Optimist Club. We had to step away for a little while because it was just getting too much between Warm Up Cornwall and working, and with Crazy Knitter, it was just getting overwhelming. So I had to give one up. So I gave up the Optimist Club for the moment. But it gives you a feeling of, I don't know, just as an optimist, we got to see the children. The before COVID, we got to see the children that received the Christmas baskets. So the smiles on the faces of the children, it makes it worth your
Yeah.
time. And I mean, you're exhausted by the time of the toy distribution day is over, because you've been at it for like days beforehand. But it's a pinnacle when you see the child smiling, or a lot of times the child would walk up to us and thank us with big smiles on their face. It's just, Ribfest was another great event to volunteer at, because you see the smiles on the faces of everybody while they're covered in rib sauce.
Ribfest is awesome.
Yes. So
Awesome.
Working for Ribfest and you seeing that all the hard work you did brings the smiles to those faces is just worth all the exhaustion and all the hours put in to do. You love to help, and you love to see the smiles on people's faces, and it just makes it worthwhile.
Well, and it's like you said, it's hard to explain the feeling of serving others, but just seeing the smile and just hearing the thank you or the excitement of a child getting a toy, you've made that difference. And it's hard to explain that feeling. I know exactly what you mean. When we give our time to others, people are like, oh, well, that was nice of you. Well, thank you. Just a simple thank you gives us a heartwarming feeling. And that you gave me the word when I asked you one word to describe yourself, Chantal. You gave me the word serving. And that's what we're talking about, is the serving of people and serving others, So why that word, Chantal?
I'm a huge Brandon Bouchard fan, and he's always constantly talking about serving others. And that's how you become who you are, by serving others. You find yourself while serving others. And I'm not saying take your whole day and serve other people, but I think I was put on this planet to make sure everybody's warm, everybody's happy. And my
Chantal,
way to
we all have a reason and a purpose, right? And that's your purpose, is happy and warm. And I think that's where the name came from, is Warm Up Cornwall, is because it actually warms your heart, right? As you serve. And that And you're allowed to get emotional on tea time. Like, you don't need to hold your tears back, because this is like coming to my house and having a cup of tea with me. If you need to cry, girl, you cry. If you need to laugh, you laugh. You know, there's no judgment here at this table. So I really want to thank you, Chantal, for joining and coming today and sharing this tea with us, because we need to open the doors of awareness on the incredible nonprofits, you know. And nonprofit, when we hear the word nonprofit, that's exactly what it is. There's no profit in it. The profit
Yeah.
is the heart and the serving and the giving, you know. And I really appreciate that as well. Uh, so I want to get into a little bit of the Tri-County, because I've taken a few of their courses as well, and it's truly amazing what they do. So what courses have you taken with them, and what has that done for you?
Okay, I've taken about like 15 classes there now.
Oh, really? I only did
Oh
like
yeah.
5.
I've taken, thanks to them, I know how to use Excel, PowerPoint, Word, email. Like they taught me, like I knew email. It just,
Yeah.
it's like I could probably know more. Like I said, I'm always continuously learning. So it's like I could probably learn how to use my email box that wee bit better. So I did. I did learn some tricks on Microsoft Outlook. Excel, I knew nothing about. I didn't go to school when the computers were in classes, so I knew nothing. My kids were always picking on me, calling us boomers, because we didn't know computer, we didn't know Excel, or like I had a basis of Word because it's similar to Word Perfect. Like I had that shows my age. I had Word Perfect.
Right? We're giving our ages away here.
So we know nothing. So we computer stop. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
uh,
And this is what tea time is, right? It's like coming home, you know, something like
well,
the
my
cat,
Alexa went on.
right? The kettle's on. Oh, it whistled. Oh, you know, the cat's meowing. Let's feed the cat. The dog's barking. Let's let the dog go. That's what it is. It's home style.
Yeah.
So, you know, don't apologize. Like, we're having an awesome tea time here. We're serving a really good, strong cup of tea. And this is Chantal's first time doing a podcast. So I'm breaking the ice. I'm poking.
You're breaking me in.
Breaking you in, girl. So you can get going on, you know. But
Maybe I'll start my own now.
right? Like, you know, give some knitting lessons and a podcasting knitting class. Like, I think that would be really cool. You just never know where it could go.
Exactly.
Yeah. So what has Tri-County given you besides
Oh,
all of the knowledge and
well, the people I got to meet in the class, like I found a couple of knitters in my last class. But the people you get to meet are just people like you that just want to learn and get better and learn more things to improve themselves. And maybe like it's meant to, like, Tri-County Literacy Council is meant for people that are looking for work and improve their essential skills. I'm not actually going out to look for work, but because they know what I do in the community, my husband takes the classes with me as well. I sucker him into he's just like me as well. He loves to learn. He's always learning something. But with Tri-County, it's a small class. You get to meet very interesting people. My last class was mindfulness.
oh,
If
I
you
didn't
have the
know
chance.
we had that one. I need that one. I need to get mindfulness. I need to get my
You get
mind
to make
together.
collages and plan your vision board. And thanks to
Oh,
a
vision
previous
boards.
class, when I learned PowerPoint, that was my final you have to do a final project after all the classes. So my final project, I used the knowledge I learned from a previous class with PowerPoint, made a PowerPoint. So now every so often, if I feel down, I go to the PowerPoint I made for the class to remind me why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Yeah. Well, and you made something really a good point, Chantal. You know, it is for us to go back to work, but it also gives us that community of getting to know people. And
Yeah.
you know, some of us can't work. I'm at home. I live with conversion disorder, so my body shuts down at times. So, but I've taken those courses just to get to meet people in the community, just to
Hmm.
understand what's out there. And and I've built friendships and relationships in that as well. And I think that's what it's given you as well, is the friendships, right? And
Yes.
I can't remember how we ever met. I think it was through volunteering together, and that I think Ribfest. Was it Ribfest that I met you first, or was it
I
jamming
am
for hot?
pretty sure it was jamming for hospice.
Yeah. So yeah, and we've known each other for quite a while. Like, we've been following and supporting each other for quite a while.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that's really important to this morning to share with everyone is, when you meet somebody, just share and support them. You don't have to
It it
all
costs
8 hours
nothing.
and say, I got you, I got you, got you. Like,
Yeah.
even just a quick hi, how are you? Or Liz, what can I do for you? Or Chantal, what can I do for you? Like, it's just those little supports that go a long way.
Or if you see something that they posted, like myself, when if I don't post on my personal wall too often, but when I do post like my dishcloths or whatever, hey, don't forget me.
Yeah.
Um, Sharing costs nothing.
Right, it's from the heart. A two
Yeah.
second share doesn't take much, and but it's that thank you.
Yeah.
It's saying, I see you and I appreciate what you're doing. Again, it doesn't take 8 hours, it takes 2 seconds to share someone's work. And I'm really a big supporter of supporting for support. If I support you and you support me, then I feel that we all grow, the community grows, the businesses grow, because we're supporting. Like, when you were putting the scarves out, you were doing little kings and little pleasures and all of that. So you're also showing, hey, go and check them out, go get a
Yeah.
haircut, go and check little pleasures. And little pleasures has a bunch of little things, like it had soap, mugs, clothing.
Yeah.
I usually go there for Christmas shopping because I love supporting during Christmas. Christmas time, I like to support the local shops,
Yeah.
not the big Kahuna guys. I like supporting the little guys. So I want to get into Alignable. How did you find out about Alignable? And I know we're following each other on that as well.
Yes. I really don't even know how I found it, but it is a very useful connection. Um, what's the word I'm looking for?
You're like
Social media.
me. It's right there. It's on my tongue, but I can't say it. Oh my
Yeah.
God, what is it? Like, get up
Not
and do
enough
a jig
coffee.
there, Chantal. You got
Um,
this, girl.
well, it's I would have to say social media. It's another social media platform. That's the word I was looking for.
There we go. I knew you'd get it.
So it's a beautiful platform. You meet local businesses through that one. So that's what I like about it. I had, um, I can't remember her name right now, but she's from Healing Wishes.
Oh,
She connected
Nicolata.
with me.
Nicolata, I think.
Oh, okay, Nicola. So she connected and she sent me a message. Have you ever been to the shop? And it's like, I keep wanting to go to that shop because it just looks amazing.
It is an
But
amazing
she
shop.
shares so much nice stuff on her Instagram and stuff. So I gotta go there. I gotta go there. I gotta go there. But it's just it's out of the way. It's like she's not like downtown or anything. So it's like you don't think of. So it's
Yeah.
like I put it in my phone this time. It's like I have to go next week.
Yeah. It's
So
an amazing
that's what
shop.
I
You
like.
need to go there. Like, I mean, it's
Mm,
amazing. I go there a lot. I get my tea cards there, my inspirational cards. I get my crystals. I get all of that good stuff there. And
I
she's
I
so beautiful and so friendly, like a big
Okay.
heart.
Yeah, I've never met her. I never went in there yet. My girl right now is I can't remember her name, but it's Do What I Want at the Square, the
Okay.
downstairs kiosk. She
Oh,
used to be at the front door near well, the front door. She used to be at the front door near the dollar store and Shoppers in the little kiosk,
okay.
but now she moved to where Things Engraved used to be.
Yeah.
So she's set up there. So she's amazing. Like and the help she gives new witches. Like I consider myself a new witch because I'm into the crystals and teas, and so I go to her for a lot of training. When I have questions, she's my go-to.
Yeah.
So then when Nicoletta contacted me on Alignable, I'm sitting here going, ooh, a second teacher.
Oh, she's amazing.
Okay.
Once you meet her, Chantal, you'll be like, "Oh, cool." Yeah, and she's really straightforward and very like, she's right there. Like she'll give you the
Okay.
answers that you need. Amazing, amazing woman. Yeah. I got to meet her, I believe, on social media because I started following her years ago. I do that. I follow people.
Yeah.
I'm that creeper. I'm checking your store out. I'm checking your shop out. And there's a couple of shops I didn't even know were up, so I'm going to be checking those out. I want to get into your store, the shop. So the Etsy, am I saying that right?
Etsy. That one's
Etsy.
on hold. That one's on hold right now. The fees are crazy there. We won't get into that can of worms today.
Oh yeah,
But
some of the shops are crazy. Like,
I have my own website to sell my pieces. I usually set up a table at Cape every year to sell my favorite piece to make is the Doctor Who scarf.
ooh,
It's 12 feet long. It takes me about 3 months to make it. I've
oh,
cut it down to about 2 months.
I didn't know that you did. I didn't know that you did Carol and Randy's
Yes.
Comic Con. Oh, that's cool. I'll have to check that out. I haven't been there in, I think it's 3 years. I haven't gone because of COVID and because of all
Well,
that other.
COVID, they shut down for the 1 year they didn't do it. Then 1 year we were like online. We basically did Cape online.
Yeah.
But yeah, I also make Harry Potter scarves.
Oh, how does that look?
Um, I
Is
don't have
that
one
two
here.
colors?
Yeah, the two colors, the two block colors.
Okay.
That's the first year. And then the third year is one big block, two little lines, or three
Okay.
little lines. So I make both. I also make them in different colors. So I don't call them Harry Potter scarves. I just call them my double layered scarves because I knit them in a circle. So they're double thick for our Canadian winters. They're probably more useful up north.
Right?
You should
I don't
send
know.
one of
We're
my
getting a
cousins.
pretty cold winter here this year.
Yes, we are. It's the snow. I'm
Yeah.
already over it. Like there's
Right?
just too
It's
much
like I
snow.
need a spring forget me not flowers. Let's start popping up. Like,
Yeah.
let's start
Um,
blooming and start going. You also have a
like
Pinterest, Chantal. You also have a Pinterest. So what do you do on the Pinterest?
Pinterest is where I save all my patterns that I find that, oh, I gotta make that. Oh, I gotta make that. And the pin builds and builds and builds, and I just keep making the same stuff over and over because it's what seems to be needed. Like dishcloths, everybody always needs dishcloth. Everybody does dishes. And then I also make little scrubbies that have it's a scrubbier material, so for your pots and pans. So um, I make the useful stuff. I
Yeah.
always want to make the cool stuff, but I seem to lean towards I have to keep people warm and doing dishes.
Right? Do your dishes.
Doing dishes. I'm the mean one to remind you, you need to do your dishes. You might as well look at something pretty while you're
Right?
doing them.
Yeah.
Because I
Good old
don't do
hands and dish
boring
rags.
dishcloths. I have my bright purples and bright oranges. You got to liven up that kitchen when you're doing dishes on a dreary winter day.
So I also found when I did some research on you, Chantal, you connected with UPS. Is that for
Yes,
delivery?
one winter they did a uh, coat drive for us. A
Okay.
winter, so they ended up get. I have a storage room now to store my yarn and stuff for Warm Up Cornwall. It got that big, I had to rent a storage room. And I'd say about a quarter of my storage room is snowsuits.
Wow.
They got one heck of a haul in for me that I am now taking care of. I'm taking care of for snowsuits. If the weather can team up with me one day, I need to drive to Mooresburg to drop off some jackets to the new warming center there.
Okay.
I think it's through the House of Lazarus. They're homeless shelter-ish, women's shelter.
Yeah.
So I got to drive there, but every time it's like, okay, this day we're going to go there. This is the day I can get up there, and it's like, no, we're going to drop 20 centimeters of snow, and it's like,
right. I know the snow
yeah.
it's getting awful. Like we're getting hit with snow right now, and it's getting
Mhm.
ridiculous. Like it could just
Well,
go
I wanted to
away.
go to Mooresburg after this episode, and it's like, no, I can't drive because I don't drive highways since my
Yeah.
car accident. I can't do highways. So we do number 2, and it's like, no, I'm not driving down number 2 in this. No.
Yeah.
I guess we'll wait till tomorrow.
So we do have a couple questions coming in for you, Chantal. And the first question is, what is your favorite thing to knit?
My Doctor Who scarf.
Okay.
It may take a long time to make it. It has seven different colors in it. It's 12 feet long, but when that piece is done, it's satisfying.
Is that 12 colors?
No, 7 colors, 12 feet
7
long.
colors. Oh, 7 colors, 12 feet.
And then I can't remember what the number was. I think I changed colors between the 7 colors. I think it's 40 times.
Wow.
Throughout. And that scarf is so iconic. And Doctor Who can teach lessons in a way that makes it's fun to watch TV. Like same with Star Trek. I'm a huge Star Trek fan.
Oh, I didn't know that about you.
Oh yeah.
I just learned something new.
I try to hide it.
I'm not paying enough attention. I didn't know about the Star Trek.
Oh yeah, huge Star Trek fan. I have my own uniforms.
Oh. So do you dress up when you go to Comic-Con?
Yes.
Awesome.
I wear command gold because I'm the boss.
You're the lady.
And my husband goes between science officer in the blue or engineering in the red. So it depends on what mood he's in. But I always wear command gold.
So we get to know a little bit about how he's feeling.
Yeah.
If you got blue or you got red, you know what.
Well, if he's got blue on, that means he's Spock. So he'll listen to me. So if he's wearing the red, he still has to listen to me. He just gets a little snottier like Scotty.
Oh.
So when he's feeling feisty, he'll wear red.
So you did, talking about colors, Chantal, you did give me the color blue as your favorite color. So why blue?
Yeah. It reminds me of the sky. Like any shade of blue, like the dark blue reminds me of the TARDIS from Doctor Who. And science blue in Star Trek. Then there's the sky, because the sky is the limit in my eyes. So blue seems to empower that color, that feeling of the sky is the limit.
And there's that word of power again. See, it was meant for you, Chantal. I'm telling you. That's what we do, right? When we serve our tea, when we start to have a conversation, we realize, oh, now I understand why I'm doing these words, or why these words are coming into my heart,
Yeah, why it popped out.
Yeah. And now as we're sharing your color, it empowers you. The color blue empowers you. And it is a really empowering color. And you're bringing awareness to so many incredible shows too. Like Doctor Who, I haven't watched since early 90s, I think.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I
always got creeped out by the opening of Doctor Who.
I remember as a kid, about 10, 12 years old, I was creeped out. My brother watched Doctor Who, and every time that theme song came out, I ran out the living room because it freaked me right the heck out. And Tom Baker's face was just so iconic and creepy. And I was like, no, I can't do this. And then like 40 years later or 30 years later, I'm knitting the scarf and I'm in love with Tom Baker. And it's like, what happened?
I know. It was the opening that always got me too. I was like, oh my God, the song, the music, it was creepy. It was scary.
Well, Star Trek, before I met my husband, I knew nothing of these things. Doctor Who freaked me out. I knew nothing about Star Trek. So when we met and we started dating, I said, I don't understand your love of Star Trek. I just don't get it. There's nothing of this makes sense to me. So he hands me a little paperback book. Title of the book is Everything You Need to Know About Star Trek.
Oh.
He knew I read, so he goes, read this and talk to me after. Just that little book. I'd say it was maybe about not even an inch thick. Just a small little paperback. It's like, okay, now I understand. And then I started watching the show, and it's like, okay, yeah, this is for me. Like,
yeah,
because they're always teaching you fairness, equality, that it's like, that kind of was the start of how I feel now and why I do what I do now. I keep Star Trek in the back of my mind. That's what our world should look like.
Yeah. And you're mentioning books. So what kind of books do you like reading, Chantal?
I read a lot of leadership and self-improvement books and smut. I got on TikTok and found romance books, but then we get a little darker than romance now. So I started with the Bridgertons and went dark.
She went to the dark side.
I went to I do enjoy Star Wars, just not as much as Star Trek. So yes, I went to the dark side for sure.
Well, I think we all need to go to the dark side sometimes, but always come back to the light.
Exactly. But once in a while, it's nice to think you can do that. But no, I got back into fantasy and fairies, fays. I have a favorite author. Her name is A.K. Mulford. She got me back into high fantasy, and she threw in some romance into that, and she's got action, adventure. And she's the one that got me back into reading. Like, I was only reading the self-improvement books, and then she got me back into reading for fun.
So we have a question that popped up as soon as you started saying you went to the dark side. So what number one dark side book do you read, Chantal?
Well, I've been reading mafia romance.
Oh.
It's an interesting twist from the person that I am.
Yeah.
Well, right now, the book I'm reading right now is she's the head of the cartel, but she's been hiding for a few years because they always try to kill the head of the cartel to take it over. Yeah. And so it's very dark. I read retellings of fairy tales. So the little bit more like fairy tales for adults.
Because we're going to that dark side.
Yeah, we've gone to that dark side. A.K. Mulford squeezed me in with the fantasy and the cool stuff, and she's very pro LGBTQ+. The next book coming in the series is if I'm not mistaken, she's the main character is pansexual. So I'm intrigued on reading that so I can get that point of view to learn more.
Yeah. Well, I think it's important to learn, right? And if, especially when we don't understand something or something comes at us and we're just like, well, we don't know what that is. So we know we need to educate ourselves. We need to ask those questions. Like, what is this? Like, how do we find out more about this? And that as well.
And she's pretty good at adding those details into her books and making it fun, like with the high fantasy. So she makes it where it's interesting read, but you also learn things. You understand more, and I love her for that.
Yeah,
like her second book of the series had I think it was lesbians.
So we have another question. Our tea time is just flying by. We're almost here at the hour. So we have another question. What is your number one leadership book that you read?
Anything by Brandon Bouchard. Leadership is anything by John M. Maxwell.
Oh, yes.
Maxwell. It's John C. Maxwell.
Yes. Yeah, John has some really good books out there.
Yes. I have audiobooks, so if I'm knitting, because I can't hold the book open when I'm knitting, so I'll have audiobooks for when I'm working. Or if I'm walking to wherever. So I have my audiobooks, but John Maxwell seems to be my go-to for leadership for sure. And for self-improvement and empowering is my Brendan Bouchard.
So, one last question before we wrap up your tea time, Chantal, and give out some good news that's coming this afternoon. So, what is it about humanitarian work that fills your heart the most?
Knowing I'm helping people. Knowing that I could change somebody's life by just a hat or a pair of mittens or even a blanket. It's just knowing I'm making a difference in somebody's life.
So, and if anybody wanted to get a hold of you, Chantal, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Facebook and Instagram are my two main go-tos. If you want a little bit of fun, some TikTok, I'm on TikTok as well. But the best way would be my link tree that's on the screen there. And by email, I will probably answer an email faster than I would answer a phone call.
And how do people get a hold of you for volunteering?
Email is probably the best, through my website, the WarmUp Cornwall.wordpress.com.
Okay.
Is it goes straight to my email, so I see it right away, permanently attached to my phone. So yeah, email through the website, or warmupcornwall@gmail.com is also.
So, any final words before we wrap up your tea time?
Thank you for having me.
Oh, well, you're very welcome. I love breaking people in.
You helped empower me today. There's the word again.
And that's what we're here for, right? To empower one another and to share each other's work. Again, anyone who would like to know Chantal or connect with Chantal, all of the information in the audio podcast section, will have it in the description. So you will find all of this incredible information, like her link tree, her Pinterest, Facebook, Instagram, all of that good stuff. So that'll be in the description box. Again, thank you, Chantal, for joining me today and sharing about the amazing work that you're doing, and just showing that little makes a big difference. You just never know whose life you're changing by just giving them a pair of mittens, a scarf, a hat, a jacket, and especially during these cold winters, we really need to make that difference in that. So I want to thank you, Chantal, for joining me today. I want to thank all the viewers and listeners that have tuned in. If you're watching a replay, please push #replay. Let me know where you're tuning in from, because I always like to know where you're tuning in from. We also have 2 more tea times today. So at 3 p.m., we have another humanitarian that is coming in, and she's going to be talking about her phone app that she's created, and it's called Bless. So we'll be talking about more humanitarian work. Today, it's it's almost like the same target audience that we're going for. And then we're going to jump into, and she's from the United States. We're jumping into the United States. And then we're jumping into Costa Rica. That's right. We're going there. And we're going to be talking about call centers, telemarketing, all of that good stuff, why it's important to have those jobs. And also, he's a collector of pinball machines and jukeboxes. So we're going to be going all over the place with Richard Blank from Costa Rica. And then after the show tonight at 7 p.m., you will get to know all of the guests that are coming in March. And there is a big lineup. In March, I am doing 17 tea times. That's right. 15 of the guests and then 2 rescheduled tea times. So the rescheduled tea time will be March 14th, and the rest of them will be on the Thursday. So make sure to tune in on Thursdays. And again, Chantal, I want to thank you for coming and breaking the ice with me and going to the dark side, going to the light side, getting some empowerment, getting all of that good stuff, and getting a cup of warm tea, So keep serving your tea. keep being thankful, keep being empowered, and keep the adventures going. We always need those adventures in life, and you just never know what door you will open. Um, and
Well,
again,
thank you for helping me find my tea.
oh, not a problem. You serve that tea and you serve it nice and strong, because that is truly what your tea is. You're thankful, you're empowered in adventures. And that's what I see with you, is true adventures. So don't leave. I'm going to talk to you in the back, but I'm going to just close up, and we're going to see everyone at 3 p.m. for a second tea time today on Tea Time with Miss Liz.